promise you, Mortal Kombat from 1995 is not that bad. I promise you that. 3 unknowing martial artists are summoned to a mysterious island to compete in a tournament whose outcome will decide the fate of the world. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Justin. I love to watch movies. I also love Mortal Kombat. If you guys do too, you guys are in the right spot. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and click that notification for more up and coming content. With Mortal Kombat, the reboot, coming out in theaters this week, let's talk about the first Mortal Kombat and then follow that up with the second Mortal Kombat film, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Real quick, look how cool this steelbook is. I got this from Best Buy. It includes the Mortal Kombat film, and on the other side is Mortal Kombat Annihilation. It has both films on it on Blu-ray. Really cool steelbook collection. Mortal Kombat was a staple in my childhood. I played a lot of the games on the Super Nintendo, and I constantly watched this film and Annihilation. I had both on VHS. I absolutely adored the movie, and the soundtrack still to this day hypes me up. This and Space Jam are like the two biggest hype songs ever for me. I hear those songs and I just want to do something fun and get going. This film, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, is really enjoyable. Is it the best video game adaptation of all time? No. It does have a lot of issues with it. We'll talk about all of the issues. But it's a film that, for me, I just find pure enjoyment in it. A lot of the tournament sequences between Johnny Cage and Goro and Sub-Zero, and we have Scorpion in the film, and Lui Kang and Rayden, all of the moments of all of the classic Mortal Kombat characters fighting is really enjoyable. Yes, it bounces around pretty quickly, and yes, there's not a lot of time given to certain sequences, but exploring the different locations and the different fighting styles and the costumes for some of these characters are a total blast. I loved Sub-Zero in here. I love Sub-Zero in here in all of his icy moments. I love Liu Kang and him becoming very determined and him feeling very confident at the end of the film. And Sonya Blade and her objective to hunt down Kano in the film. And all of the scenes with Katana in the film. I love all of these characters individually. Some characters get a little more development than others, especially when it comes to Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage and Liu Kang. They are like the main trio that travels to this mysterious island to participate in the Mortal Kombat tournament. Then Shang Sung is able to take control of the Earth realm. And so there's a lot of urgency within this movie. Growing up, I really didn't pay attention to why there was the tournament. I just loved seeing all the characters fight and hearing the music. But now watching it as an adult, I really like the story in here and the urgency that is surrounding this film for these characters to participate in this tournament, or the Earth realm will be taken over. It's been a long time since I've seen this film, and to my surprise, it's actually filmed pretty well. There's some really good imagery in here, some really nice shots of the characters as they are standing next to each other as they're ready to fight. Some of the set designs are really good too, and the camera work in here is pretty impressive for its time and how bad these movies are considered to be, especially Annihilation, which we'll talk about soon. But I like how this movie is directed. I'm not the biggest fan of Paul W.S. Anderson, and some of his movies are absolutely terrible. We've seen that plenty of times. But I like how it is filmed, and I liked how some of the fights are shot and you get to kind of see everything go down, even if they don't spend a lot of time on one fight. It kind of bounces around between certain fights like Goro and Johnny Cage. And Scorpion and Johnny Cage, as they're fighting, kind of bounces around between certain fights. I really wish they would have focused in on one fight before leading to the next fight. But there's a lot of great world building in here, introducing a lot of the main Mortal Kombat characters like Goro. There was a lot of hype for his character, and his introduction is great as well when he fights Johnny Cage for the first time. Paul W.S. Anderson understands that these characters are big, and he presents them in a way that is tailored to them, and it works within this movie. There's a lot of hype surrounding some of the introductions to some of these characters. As you're watching it, you're excited to see Goro on screen, or Shang Sung in the film, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, whoever it is, it sends chills down your spine and you're so excited to see them on screen. Now, like I said, this isn't a perfect movie by any means. The dialogue is absolutely cheesy. It's very limited. There's not a lot of room for development or conversation. It's all just very brief. Like I also said, there's a lot of times where they bounce around between certain fights. I really liked if they would have focused just on one fight. Some of the CGI is very outdated. Some of the casting is pretty bad as well. But this is a movie that I really do enjoy. And yes, I do enjoy Annihilation. Yes, I understand that they aren't the best movie, but they are pure enjoyment. And I'm really excited to watch and review Annihilation for you, because it's been a long time since I've seen that one, and I know that one is terrible, but I still remember enjoying it from a kid, so I'm excited to check that one out again. But this 1995 film, it handled a lot of the Mortal Kombat style from the video game very well. The fights are fun. The locations for some of the fights are entertaining. Seeing some of the characters are awesome. And the story surrounding it presents an urgency that makes it work and has a nice flow to it as well. Some of the smaller stories involving Sonya Blade and Kano work, and Johnny Cage and Lui Kang and Rayden, all of them in here work together, and the Mortal Kombat tournament is the main big thing. And if you don't win, Earth Realm will be taken over, and it leads right away into Annihilation, and it leaves it on a cliffhanger. 2 years later, we get Annihilation from, I think, 1997 is when it was released, but it ended on a cliffhanger and left me excited to see the second film. So Mortal Kombat, I know it's not the best movie ever made, but it is a movie that I watched constantly growing up, all the time. I had the VHS, I had Annihilation VHS. Those were constantly being played at my grandma's house. I went to go to her house all the time, so she allowed me to kind of watch whatever I wanted to at her house. So I remember watching this movie with a lot of the neighborhood friends, and we all just kind of getting hyped. Every time we heard the Mortal Kombat song and the end fight sequence with Lui Kang and Shang Sung, just pretty epic. I'm going to go ahead and give Mortal Kombat a B-. Thank you guys for checking my review for Mortal Kombat, the 1995 film. I promise you, it's not that bad. Check it out if you haven't seen it in such a long time. I'll be reviewing Annihilation for you, and then upcoming reboot as well. My name is Just Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.